Opinion. Today I am reviewing the new revival of Andrew Lloyd Webber's, and my favorite Webber musical, Sunset Boulevard, with music by Webber, book and lyrics by Don Black and Christopher Hampton, directed by Jamie Lloyd, choreographed by Fabian, Aloise, and running at the St. James Theater at 246 West 44th Street in New York City. It'd be like we never said goodbye if you came over to my Patreon page, where you can, for as little as $1 a month, support this channel and my classic cinema podcast, Yesterday's Matinee. The latest episode is on George A. Romero's Dawn of the Dead and is available for patrons only. My Patreon page also features retro reviews, the occasional poll, and other goodies. Thanks to all of my current patrons, especially my Neo and Hamilton tier patrons, and welcome to the new ones. A link will be in the description. Some things, for reasons, capture the cultural zeitgeist and people end up going gaga over it, while others look at it and think, I don't get the hype. Such is my reaction to all the positive reactions to the latest revival of Andrew Lloyd Webber's Sunset Boulevard. I love this musical. It's my favorite score of Webber's, and it captures the spirit of the original Billy Wilder film starring Gloria Swanson and William Holden. So I am always excited to see a new production of it, and though I still love the score under the direction of Alan Williams, this is a musical that, when I see it, I want the Hollywood opulence, the dream world of an era long gone in the golden age of Hollywood, fantasizing over an era even older with the silent film era, with the correct touch of noir to give it an air of disconcertion that everything isn't as it seems. Even the revival back in 2017 with Glenn Close, even with that stripped-down production, it still felt like a tribute to the past. Here, instead, aside from one beaming bit of brilliance, we have been given a soulless, lifeless, drab, dare I say, boring piece of theater. The only redeeming factor of this production is the masterful performance from Nicole Scherzinger. More on that later. In Lloyd's attempt to present a minimalist production, he has stripped all of the life out of the show. The actors mostly park and bark towards the audience, rarely actually acting to each other, feeling more like a poorly conceived first-year acting project than anything carrying any real substance. The opening series of songs after the prologue, Let's Have Lunch and Every Movie's a Circus, is acted almost entirely downstage toward the audience, losing any kind of character definition and development of relationship between some of the key roles, especially between Joe Gillis, the down-on-his-luck screenwriter, played by Tom Francis, and Betty Schaefer, played by Grace Hodgett-Young. Betty is an assistant to producer Sheldrake, played by Tyler Davis. She becomes infatuated with Joe and his potential as a writer while in a relationship with Joe's friend, Artie, played by Diego Andres Rodriguez. These characters need to have a bond with each other, and none of that bond is there here, singing dispassionately towards the audience instead of interacting with each other. I mean, even if they acted the numbers better, it would have been an improvement, but it was so bland and unemotional and dispassionate. Tom Francis and Grace Hodgett-Young have almost no chemistry together, and poor Diego Andres Rodriguez gets the most unintentionally comic moment of the show, and there are a lot of those here, involving Lloyd's ill-conceived idea of using cameras during various parts of the musical on stage to project the acting on a giant screen. I've seen this technique used a few times now, like the last revival of West Side Story and the stage adaptation of Network, both of which I loathed, Bryan Cranston's performance aside. The only time I've seen it utilized and successfully pulled off was in the stage adaptation of 1984, which was produced back in 2017, a play where the government is monitoring everyone, so having cameras tracking people and presenting things on a screen for the audience makes perfect artistic sense. Here, like in the revival of West Side Story in particular, just feels like a poor gimmick. I might have been forgiving of it if the cameras stayed solely on Scherzinger, who played Norma Desmond, the mentally fractured wash-up silent film star who coerces Joe to assist her with finishing her abysmal adaptation of Salome, from which a twisted romance blossoms from. If it is Lloyd's vision to make this production of Sunset Boulevard to be an inversion, showing the story exclusively from Norma Desmond's point of view, with everyone else as the problem with Hollywood and, in extension, the world, then just keep the camera on her. I would have accepted that. Let her live life in the delusional fantasy of living in her own movie. That artistically makes sense. What we have doesn't, and frankly, like I've said in my reviews of Network and West Side Story, where they excessively use cameras and projecting the action on screen, if I wanted to watch a movie of Sunset Boulevard, I'd watch the movie, which is a lot better than this. But, as I said, the one redeeming part of the show is Nicole Scherzinger, who I honestly didn't think much of before seeing it. I thought she looked a little young for the role, but after checking her age, it pretty much checks out. She's 46, and Gloria Swanson was 51 when the film was made and released, so that's close enough for me. Also, I wasn't sure if Scherzinger had the acting chops to pull off a role as hefty as Norma Desmond, but she did it, and did it with marvelous conviction. She is the singular reason to see this production of Sunset Boulevard, and in a few brief shining moments, especially with her performances of With One Look and As If We Never Said Goodbye, illuminate this otherwise tedious show. I know I'm probably in a minority here, but this is what I do, and if you disagree with me, that's fine. You're not going to upset me by doing so. So if you must see this production of Sunset Boulevard, see it for Scherzinger, who gives a performance so great that it takes an otherwise intolerable production and makes it at least watchable. But I am only one man's opinion, so be sure to leave yours in the comments below. If you'd like to see Sunset Boulevard, I'll leave a link in the description where you can get tickets. Also in the description will be links to my Patreon and Spotify pages, as well as addresses to my social media where you can support my work. You can also support my work by liking and sharing this review and subscribing to the channel. Also, click the notification bell to be alerted to future reviews. My next review will be the new Broadway play, Left on 10th. Thank you for watching, and I will see you at the theater.